What is going on, everyone? Matt97657 here, and today we are back with yet another figure unboxing and review. And as the title thumbnail suggests, is going to be the Bandai Limited Movie Monster Series Spacegodzilla Retro Color version. So with that being said, nothing more to it. Then you get right on into it. And alas, as you can see, a pretty wide box here, straight from the Godzilla store. I wanted to kind of test a theory to see how much figures cost between importing and getting them domestically. Obviously, since we have the Godzilla store in the United States, it's a lot easier to get domestically allocated figures. But you know, there always is that option to purchase from Japan as well. So I'll talk a little bit more on that later, probably after the video is over. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But pretty standard. It's just one figure. They sent me this pretty wide box. Nothing too crazy. Here is that figure there, and it looks like this is just the receipts. Yes, just the receipt in the box. So, yep, and our knife is done for now. And with that, let us go ahead and unravel the figure. There it is. All right, here it is. This is the Retro Color Spacegodzilla. And let us see here. Here we have our tag, per usual, 2024. Spacegodzilla probably says retro color version, and then we have our Japanese text there, and then Godzilla vs. Spacegodzilla Bandai Movie Monster Series. And yeah, here is the figure. I kind of adjusted my light so it's a little bit more white instead of it being more yellow. So I'm trying out a new thing. Just let me know what you guys think of it. It's popping a lot of the colors off immediately just because this light is so bright. Obviously, right? If I put it down, then you can kind of see a little bit more of the saturation, but I kind of do want to try this one little light there. So hopefully it does kind of give off a little bit of a reflection going on to see how it would look in certain lighting. Regardless of that, it's just a standard mold. I think they've been using this mold for honestly a decade, maybe even a couple of decades. Maybe it's a little bit retweaked. I have an older version of the Bandai, which I will do a comparison of, but as you can see, it's pretty much kind of a really metallic-y paint job of what Spacegodzilla normally would look like. Obviously, it's not as I think real isn't the right word to say, but it's not as comical. And we'll get to that. The monster arts will be a very good comparison with the coloration, but I do like the paint job because as the light reflects on it, it kind of pops a lot of that metallic coloration, which they tend to do with these retro colored ones. There you have the crest there, Spacegodzilla eating the tag. It's kind of a gold color. And then obviously the space crystals, instead of being more of a cartilage white, is that what I would call it? I'm not sure. They're more of a metallic-y silver, as you can see on the screen there. Obviously you have some red going up, some of those red hues. And then pretty much on the back end, it's kind of the same coloration throughout the entire body, that nice navy bluish. And then you do have some more silver paint apps on the dorsal plates there. So very cool. You're getting a lot of blues and silvers and red. I would say those are the three main color composites that they used for this figure. And I mean, realistically, that's it. I mean, there's the tail there. It's not painted at the very tippy top, but a good majority of it is painted. And as you can see, blue. Very, very blue with the light there. So with that, let's go ahead and show off our former Spacegodzilla figure that I had. I think in the Monster Arts video, I was kind of talking about how this was a figure that I actually retooled, repainted, because the crest itself was broken. This isn't the original crest here. I had to buy clay and mold it. But obviously the idea is the same, and then I painted a little bit of the figure just to my younger experience. So please be nice on me. But as you look there, you can already see there's a little bit of a difference. So maybe it's just an upscaled mold, but they look relatively the same in terms of proportions as I'm doing a quick comparison here. Obviously, the only notable thing I'm seeing at first glance is the size differentiation. But yeah, very interesting. I thought they were the same mold, but I was incorrect there. So yes, so that is the old, let's see what year this was. I'm seeing 1998. So the Bandai 98 line. At that point, it wasn't movie monster series. I think it was just like Bandai in general. But lastly, for our Space Godzilla comparison, this is the Monster Art Space Godzilla, the way I kind of have it. And as you can see, there's the color pop. This one has a little bit more grounded in, I don't want to say dull because it doesn't seem like it's dull, but it's a lot more like matte colored. Compared to this, obviously it's metallic-y, it's an exclusive. That's kind of what they're going for and all fun, right? So very cool to see the comparison between the two. And yeah. All right, I mean, that really is about it. I don't have a Godzilla mold I really can use. I mean, they haven't made an exclusive Space Godzilla suit mold for me to do, but if I had to do one, let's go ahead and go with the standard, the standard 91. Let's go ahead and just do a standard 91 figure. So just doing this for the comparison's sake of the Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. Obviously not film accurate, but I just wanted to show off how both of them would look with the most recent Heisei Bandai that we have gotten in terms of exclusivity. But yeah, that really is about it. I'll go ahead and briefly talk about the whole import-export thing. I plan to do maybe a video on it one of these days where I show off, or not show off, but I talk about my experiences with importing figures. Obviously, this one was imported from Japan, from the Godzilla store in Japan using Bandai, because I wanted to test out if it would have been cheaper to purchase this from Japan or if it would have been cheaper to purchase this from the Godzilla store United States store. In conclusion, technically it is cheaper to get the United States Godzilla store order for this figure. I think in total, after shipping, the US one is at 45 and this one came out to I think 51, if I'm correct. Technically not the worst, but it's just one Bandai, which can definitely rise up there the more and more you get them. But yeah, it's definitely like a preference thing, obviously, at the end of the day. I think that if you're willing to pay just a little bit extra to get them faster, then I think definitely importing is the way. But if you're just kind of like not casual, it's not the right word. If you're just kind of like, I'm going to buy this and whenever it arrives, then obviously I would go for the exports. Anyways, I'm getting my words confused. I would definitely go for the domesticated version if you're just kind of like, you know what, I'm going to place an order on here. When it gets here, it gets here. I'm not too worried about when it gets here. I just want it to get here. I would definitely stick with the US because it's cheaper and you're probably not going to get too many problems. I've never had a problem with importing from Japan, sorry. But I'm sure even if something like that ever did happen, it would be a lot harder to like navigate and all that. But never had any issues as of right now, but that's just kind of my simplest take on it. I'm sure I could do a lot of conductive research with everything I've bought over the years, which maybe I will do, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick kind of like walkthrough, if that makes any sense, on like my experiences buying this one. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end it off there. Definitely loved the coloration of this figure. It's not too different from the standard Space Godzilla colorations, but I think it kind of reminds me of that old Trendmasters Space Godzilla figure coloration where it was just like retro. I mean, you know, retro gets thrown around a lot these days, but you get the idea of what I'm going for. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think of the retro color version Space Godzilla Bandai here. Let me know if you're deciding to pick it up or if you're going to wait on it. But with that, I will see you guys in the next video. See ya!